Broadcasting live from the detection tower on the plain of Mirrodin, this is Tap Tap Concede. Hello everybody, welcome to this episode of Tap Tap Concede. I'm James, I'm joined by this week Cameron.
Hello.
And
Nelson.
I just kind of flipped that up, I apologize. I'm back, man, I haven't been on the show for a while, I'm excited. I'm going to be talking about some Core 2019 today. We got a crack pack, and we'll probably talk about some cards that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And then Cameron and I will maybe talk a little bit about what we got up to in Vegas. But there's also a really great vlog coming up for that episode, for that whole trip as well, so you can look forward to that soon, hopefully. But first, let's talk about our sponsors. First up, CardKingdom.com. They are the sponsor of not only this podcast, but our weekly online draft and Friday Night Paper Fight. They've been with us for many years now. We love them. We use them. We highly encourage you to go check them out. CardKingdom.com/LRR. That will apply the affiliate code. It lets them know that we sent you there. They just are a fantastic place to go buy your singles, your sealed product if you live in the United States, and all of that jazz. And yeah, go check them out. They're a really great place.
If you let them know that LRR sent me button, please, they'll give you a button.
Yeah, I don't 100% know if there are buttons right now. I am hoping that by the time that you are watching this, there will be buttons back. Try it, and hopefully we will have buttons in stock by the time that you send in your next order.
The button company isn't Card Kingdom.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this podcast is also brought to you by you over at patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. We can do almost everything that we do if it wasn't for your support, so we thank you very much. Once again, patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. I have this pack of Core 2019. Ooh. This is left over from the pre-release, if you're wondering how we have this. But I figured we're going to talk about Core 2019. We might as well crack a pack of Core 2019. So, let's get
Pretty impressively early pack here. At time of filming, we're still like 8 days out from the pre-release.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. All right, first up, we have the Lexodon Line Breaker. Uh-oh.
One sec.
You guys don't get to see it. Sorry.
No. I mean, it's not very exciting. It's a 3/2 for 2 and a white. It's an elephant soldier.
Yeah.
It's a vanilla creature. It's got cool art.
It's a big elephant holding a hammer.
Yeah, it'll go very nicely in your elephant commander deck, I guess.
Don't first pick it.
Yeah. No, never first pick it. That seems like
the 2 toughness on this one's kind of a deal breaker with all the knights. And
you want your 3/2s. Yeah, you want your 3/2s in general to have like an ability, some words of some kind, anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool art though.
It's great. All the art in this set is phenomenal.
Great.
Next up, we have the Frilled Sea Serpent. It's 4 blue for a 4/6 serpent, and for 5 blue, it can't be blocked this turn. That's really expensive.
This is a pretty strong finisher in Kaladesh. You know, it's like in a control strategy or whatever. Although that one also had affinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help you power it out.
But I mean, it's a common, so these mana costs kind of line up with that. I could see this being a rare, being a little bit cheaper on all ends, but 7 mana for unblockable 4 power is like...
The 4 power instead of 5 is kind of a big deal too. Because it
Yeah.
often will mean that if you're like a slow deck and limited and they're using this to close the game out, it's going to take 1 more turn.
Yeah.
But honestly, this type of creature is a fine role player, so don't feel bad if there's one in your deck.
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Also, lionfish are invasive species.
Ooh.
Good to know.
Yeah.
This guy is very...
Lionfish?
Yeah.
Lionfish. Well, I mean, it's a sea serpent with a lionfish for a head.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't even know
Kind
what a lionfish is, but I guess it's not from around here.
Captain Picard had one.
Oh.
All right. Next up is Infernal Scarring. It's 1 and a black for an enchantment. Enchant creature gets +2/+0 and has, when this creature dies, draw a card.
This is from another core set, isn't it?
I don't...
Something. Yeah, it looks like I think it's a reprint, but I'm not sure from where.
It's kind of an unexciting creature enchantment. It's just like you feel bad when you enchant a creature and it's killed and you kind of get 2 for 1. In this case, it's like you kill the creature on cast and you're like, oh.
Origins.
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 There you go.
Great. There you go.
Next up, we have Giant Spider.
Hooray, we hit a playable.
Giant Spider is back. 3 and a green, 2/4 reach. classic. This thing has been around since the literal first set of Magic the Gathering, right? Like, this is an alpha.
Basically, green counterspell.
Yeah.
And Baneslayer Angel.
Yeah.
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 It's fantastic.
Oh, we got a mic problem.
Your mic
We got a little mic chafe here. Sorry, gang. You were listening to the sound of James's sweater. If only you could also smell it. And you get the
not much of anything. Hold on, let me fix
what happens in Vegas is still on James's sweater.
Ah, cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I stopped picking up whiffs of it last week.
Nervous sweat. Oh yeah, it was like still in certain corners of like your pockets or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. You would
take your
shift-
phone out and you're like,
You
no.
would shift in some way and like.
Hopefully that's better.
Okay, back to Crack Pack.
Back to Crack-a-Pack. Gearsmith Guardian, 5 mana artifact creature construct. It's a 3/5, and it gets +2/+0 as long as you control a blue creature. So, I mean, even in a blue-based deck, this is still just a 5/5 for 5, which is like, it's okay.
And I mean, in Dominaria, we got a 5/5 for 5 trample.
Wasn't it
Artifact
6? It was
creature.
6, wasn't it?
Was
that
it 6?
I thought it was 6.
Not Partick Wanderer, but some kind
Yeah, part of Golem or something like that. I
Yeah.
thought it was 6.
Was
But
it
I could be
6?
wrong. I
Okay.
actually barely got to play Dominaria.
Oh, really?
I
It was
still,
good.
still am trying to get like. Well, there's a few more drafts. It's obviously
No, we
a
should go
week.
draft it.
Yeah, no, I'd like to more. Anyways, I actually think this card's very reasonable. Haha.
Oh, you were right.
Got there.
Huh,
Okay, so back to this 3/5 for 5. You will sometimes just play that in a deck that just wants, you know, like usually it has a bunch of flyers and it wants like something beefy on the ground to kind of like establish itself, keep it from dying in the mid game. My friends and I always refer to that as honk because there was like in multiple core sets there was an elephant in white. There was like 4 colorless and 1 white for a 3/5 vanilla, and you kept getting printed. And you were sort of like trying to figure out as you muddled through the summers of core set drafting how many honks you wanted or whether or not you wanted to play honk if honk was playable in this format.
Fair enough.
But this guy, if you're in blue, is a 5/5 for 5. So that's like, I would say medium exciting. Honestly, the difference between 5 and 6 in the curve, it's a pretty big deal. Like it can make a very serious tempo swing when you're able to attack for 5 before your opponent has a 5 toughness creature.
That's fair.
That is okay. Yeah, totally reasonable.
Okay, so I think this guy's fine.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, we have Gallant Cavalry. It's 3 and a white for a 2/2. Expensive. It's Humanite. It has Vigilance. All right. And when it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 White Knight with Vigilance. Okay, this card's real good.
Yeah, it's
that's-
called the Cavalry with that is a creature instead of a sorcery.
Yeah.
Night's Watch or whatever, like something. Yeah, 4 mana, make 2/2 Knights with Vigilance.
That seems completely fine.
Yeah.
I play this card all the time.
I like that it's an ETB on a creature. Means that it synergizes with any reanimation or you can
Blink effects
bounce.
or-
Yeah, even
yeah.
if you have to mana war your own guy. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
You get some value there.
Yeah.
Next up is Druid of the Cowl. It's 1 and a green for a Elf Druid. It's a 1/3, and it taps for a green.
Those of you who are big fans of Druid of the Cowl from Kaladesh, worrying that it was going to rotate out of standard, worry no more.
Worry no more.
Yeah.
It's fine. Right?
Maybe it's from
this is-
Ether
this
Revolt,
is-
actually. It might be
This is
from
what
Ether
mana dorks look like nowadays. I mean, we did just get Land and War Elves, but,
Yeah, baby.
you know.
This is what we're used to mana dorks looking like. though.
Yeah. Next up, we have Smelt. It's an instant. It casts for a red, and it destroys an artifact.
I think also a reprint from a course. Oh, maybe was Smelt from Scars and Mirrodin? I'm trying to remember. No, I think
mean,
it was from a core set originally.
Yeah, it makes sense that it would be.
Magic 2013 and 2014.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, first printing in M13. Yeah, great card. Only 1 mana.
Yeah, I mean, sideboard, right? Like, nobody...
A Braid's better.
I mean, a Braid, definitely better. But
Yeah. But it's still kind of an exciting card
Yep.
for 1 mana.
Sorry. Lich's Caress is up next. Straight up removal, 3 black. Sorcery, destroy target creature. You gain 3 life. Yeah, this is, you play this card. Obviously, I think you'd rather murder, but
For sure.
you know, removal is removal, and this is just hard removal.
We're used to having to pay 5 mana for black.
Conditionless removal.
Yeah, unconditional removal at common.
At common, yeah.
The best ones are the ones they give us at instant speed, and then
Yes.
I think the next best one they've printed it a couple times where you get 3 black mana back.
Yeah, Dark Liturgy.
Dark Liturgy, and
Yeah.
then this one is probably third behind that. But the 3 life is still nice. 'Cause
All right. Next up, we have Sky Scanner. 3 colorless artifact creature, Thopter. It's a 1/1. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. seems actually kind of okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flying Eldritch Visionary.
What is,
or
so it's like, I'm thinking, like when I see this, I'm thinking
Baleful Strix without Death Touch.
I'm also just thinking like Pilgrim's Eye,
Yeah.
like a 3-mana flyer.
Yeah.
Because Pilgrim's Eye is 1/1, right?
Yeah, Pilgrim's Eye's ability is a little better.
Yes.
But yeah, similar.
All right. Cool.
Fine card to play.
Yeah. Volley Veteran, first uncommon, 3 and a red for a 4/2 Goblin Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature and opponent controls equal to the number of goblins you control.
So, Flame Tongue Goblin.
Yeah,
not.
but not very good. Well, I mean,
No, I think
like,
this
it's
thing's
fine.
fine. Yeah, I think
but
it's
not
fine.
as good as Flame Tongue Goblin.
Well, I mean, depending on the board state, it might do more damage than Flame Tongue Capital, although maybe you're winning a whole bunch at that point.
right.
Yeah. Like if this guy's, doming your opponent for 8.
Yeah.
I think if there's a standard Goblins deck, this
Would
guy is
play
a
it.
solid role player. Yeah,
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah.
Is there a standard Goblins deck right now, or could there be?
Well, we'll come back to that when we talk more about M19 spoilers, but they did get a Lord.
Sorry, what was
His
This
name's
is
Volley
Veteran. There he is. I hate 4/2s. I think that's my
Oh, really?
problem.
Well, it's just like it is Flame Tongue Cavalry. It's same cost, same stats.
Yeah.
And then he just has a variable amount of damage
Yep.
that he deals. Now, it's also kind of nice that it says deals damage to a creature an opponent controls, because FTK, you actually can't play him on a naked board. Like,
Right.
if there's no other creatures, he
He just kills himself. Yep.
Yeah. So that's a small advantage.
Fair enough.
FTK loves to FT.
Yeah.
Ks sometimes.
Yeah.
Next up is Gutter Snipe.
Yes.
Ooh, baby.
2 and a red for a Goblin Shaman. It's a 2/2 whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell. Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent.
Love this card.
Yeah, I have a lot of fondness for this card.
Cool card, great art. It's actually, I believe, the game day. No, not the
Yeah,
open house
promo. Yeah.
which by the time you see this will have already happened. But if you went, cool, maybe you got this card. It's kind of neat. Gravedigger, another great sort of classic core set card. 3 and a black for a zombie. It's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So yeah, good stuff.
Yep.
Not new art though.
Yeah, this is the same art it's
Same
had
art
since
for a
like
while,
it's been
There's a few arts for Gravedigger.
Oblivion.
Yeah.
I want to
The-
say.
What I always love about this art is the like whatever it is on the back of his hand. I guess
Yeah,
it's like
it's-
tape or something.
Yeah, his middle finger,
His 3 fingers
ring
here
finger, and
are,
pinky finger bandaged
are
together.
bandaged together.
Yeah, for the longest time, I thought that was like
coffee
a
mug?
coffee cup.
Yeah, I thought it was a coffee
Yeah, where
cup,
he's just
too.
like holding this guy's head, being like,
He's like, oh, he's just working.
I
Yeah.
said decaf.
Yeah, he's got a job to do.
Yeah, it's like, it's like Melissa in HR, and you show up, and she's like all busy, and she's got like pens in her hair, and she's sipping her coffee. She's like, what am I going to do with you? Where am I sending you? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. We got the combo there with the knight.
We got the
Oh,
Knight
so we
token.
got
and
Knight
attack.
We got the knight token. That's good.
I was just thinking our Gallant Cavalry, good combo with Gravedigger.
Yeah, we've got
a forest.
Oh,
and we have
Young's
our
the road.
rare, which is Thorn Lieutenant.
Ooh.
It is a 2/3 for 1 and a green. All right, I like
Okay.
that. It's an elf warrior. When it becomes the target of a spell or an ability opponent controls, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Okay. And for 5 and a green, the lieutenant can get +4/+4 until end of turn. So you can turn this thing into a 6/7 for 6 mana. This seems pretty good.
It's got this extra point of toughness, which sort of
Yeah.
like I think is just belongs to its rarity.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like otherwise, it feels really weird seeing Crawl Warrior at rare, right? Like we've seen this ability. Like if you strip off the 3rd point of toughness and the first ability that triggers when someone targets it, it's just like this is a common in a bunch of sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not one that we usually see played in Constructed. It's a fine card in Limited. I don't know if the other 2 abilities, the +0/+1 and the extra elves you might get, are going to make this thing good enough to see any play in Standard.
Well, did what was it? Nissa's companion, Nissa's soldier, the 2/3 that the original Nissa could tutor up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think people maybe tried it, but no, that was just like in draft. We saw.
Yeah.
Like Nissa's Chosen. You mean?
Nissa's Chosen,
2 mana,
yes.
2/3. Although I actually did play Elvish Warrior, which was just like green for a 2/3 with no other abilities back in my Elves deck in like Onslaught days, just because you wanted enough cards that just read like this is an elf.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe if you're playing this guy and he has like protection, so there's always a body, and then you're playing the Elf Lord to pump him, and then you've got this weird other way to pump him in really weird long games.
Yeah.
Then maybe. So what's your first pick? We're drafting here.
So it's
Gutter
like,
Snipe.
You really like
Go
Gutter
all,
Snipe? Yeah,
go
fair
all
enough.
in on Gutter
I
Snipe.
wanted to say the Gutter Snipe, though I like him a lot. I don't think he's like a Goblins card. But
No, he's not.
And there aren't any like blue cards in this pack. Usually you want to be blue-red with Gutter Snipe. But
Yeah. I mean, that feels correct to me, right? Like, there's not a lot of excellent red.
yeah, I like it.
Well,
Yeah, I
Volley
like this.
Veteran will probably
Either the
vanish.
removal spell, the 5-mana removal spell, or one of the creatures with an ETB, I think, are my favorite. Like, I don't actually want to first pick these green creatures.
yeah, like I'm liking Caress. I'm liking Cavalry. I actually don't mind Gravedigger.
Yeah. No, I think Gravedigger's a fine first pick here.
If I'm gonna, if I'm gonna take a red card here, I'm gonna probably take Gutter Snipe. Although
Nobody likes Volley Veteran. I think Volley
chances of
Veteran's
this-
a fine first pick.
I mean, the chances of this coming back around.
There's a
are-
common that makes 2 goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So that's
I
just
think
like
Volley
vaulting a
Veteran is
creature on a
actually,
4-mana 4. You just hate the stats, eh? You just don't like a 4-mana 4/2.
I just
Can't
hate-
handle it.
I just don't like.
There's a trick that's +3/+3 and trample in this set. Isn't
Yeah.
Do you play Volley Veteran if you don't have any other goblins?
Yeah.
if it's
If
just,
it's just
ETB
one
for
damage?
Yeah, I mean, it'll kill that 1/1 flyer that draws you a card.
Well, I mean, there is the Skeleton Warrior, which is a 3/3 that pings something.
Yeah,
right?
that
And
card's
you
Right.
play
pretty
that.
And that's a 4-mana 3/3, and it can only ever do 1 damage.
Yeah.
You just love that it's a 3/3 instead of a 4/2.
Yeah. Like
trades with Volley
4/2s
Veteran.
are great
Man.
because like
This thing can go face too. It can ping the face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
just-
problem with the problem I've always had with 4/2s is that they can trade up real well, right?
Right.
But they can also just trade down so
They can't usually like attack on their own, right?
It's just like if I have a 4 toughness creature or 4 power creature out, I want to be attacking with them, and you just can't with a 4/2 because it just trades with so many dorky little things, right?
The fundamental paradox of the high power, low toughness creatures is
Yeah.
that when your opponent has them, they're always bashing your face in.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and you have them, they always can't attack because
Yeah.
he's got some little dude to
He
block
just
it.
has like
Yeah.
a dorky, like just a bear, right? Like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
trades with a bear, and it just always feels bad. I acknowledge that this is a good card.
It's
I
not
acknowledge
supposed
that
to
it's
just trade
fun,
with it though.
but-
It's supposed to like when it trades with the bear, it's 2 for 1 because it already killed a bear, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ideally, yes.
You know.
That being said, I'm still taking Gutter Snipe and just taking every divination that comes around.
Sure.
Just draw your entire deck and deal 18 points of damage.
Gravedigger's Gravedigger's probably the best card in the pack. Like I think it's the highest
the-
possible
okay.
upside.
That's the
Yeah.
promo Gutter Snipe there, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Yeah, if you showed up
hey,
to Magic
look
Open
at
House
that
2 days
guy.
ago, you might have had
Look
one of
at
these.
that
And
guy.
if you didn't, hey, these will be for sale from your
When
friends.
is Magic Open House? Tell us
It's-
about Magic Open House.
It's this weekend, so
It's the
there's
day
not
after
really-
filming,
there's,
yeah.
There's not much point in it's tomorrow. So
But hey, there's going to be a Magic
missed
Open House
it.
for every set. You know, they've been doing them for a couple of years now, and it's the Saturday before the pre-release usually.
yeah,
And there's some kind of promo letting people know the set's coming out and like letting people know to maybe come to the pre-release and what that means. And it's like a good drop in, see what a Magic card store is like for your friend. No commitment to spend any time there beyond just saying hi. And then if you want to learn how to play, you can stick around and do that. Or if you have questions, you can ask them. But it's like, you know, the pre-release as an entry point to Magic, it can be a little intimidating. It's like, okay, so we're going to get up at like 8 and maybe have breakfast, and then we're going to go play Magic for 6 hours, and you've maybe never played Magic before. It's like,
I mean that's
Yeah.
just your crazy store. You
no, a lot of people.
Nobody
they do a
else
lot of
has-
4-rounders though. They're like a lot
I
of
would- I would-
4
I
rounds
would
is typical
love
for
4
pre-release.
rounds.
Would you? Well, come and play the Two-Headed Giant Sunday night.
I
It's
hate
400
two-headed giants.
All right, all
I
right.
don't know. It's a good feeling to get.
All right,
fifth
Dad. We
round of
need
Magic
smaller,
with, like
smaller rounds. I get it.
when you're 4-0 and facing off like against, you know, basically a vintage player at the top tables.
Right.
That's some serious. That's some serious Magic.
It's true.
Going on.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
no.
even if it's only 4 rounds, your friend that you're going with is going
Yes.
to want to play all 4 rounds. Plus, there's an extra hour of admin plus
Yeah.
building your deck, so it's 5 hours.
Yeah,
right?
it's-
not
it's-
6. At YJ, we play all day, forever.
It's a long
You
day.
can't make us stop. Yeah, it's a big day. And if you've never played Magic before, the pre-release actually might not be the perfect place to start. So the open house, I think, is offering people like a.
Very
Thank
nice.
you, Paul.
Paul
Well
threw it
done.
up together forever on the screen there.
There we are.
All right,
Come
so
play Two-Headed Giant with me.
no,
It'll be more fun. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about Core 19. Unfortunately, we're going to have to keep this podcast a little bit shorter today. We're on a bit of a time limit here. So, I mean, Cam, you've got a chance to actually play with these cards from a limited perspective. thoughts so far?
Skeleton Archer actually way better than you think.
Gravedigger legit.
Yeah. For the record, could you please state your name, creature type, and battlefield role? Skeleton Archer, and Skeleton Archer.
I made this
Birdman,
joke at the pre-release,
Yeah.
but I think I was already the second or third person to do it. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Like it's straight out of Alpha, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Summon giant spider.
It's
yeah.
very honest Magic. Like a couple of months ago, we did that 6th edition draft.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
turned out to be way more fun and engaging than we thought it was, because it was just like, you know, slinging shocks and
The castle deck was insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Adam had the castle deck, and like it was my 1/4s versus Ben's aggro.
Yeah, I
deck,
mean this
and-
beta draft in Vegas, like the big story was just COP red with
COP
Orcish
red.
artillery.
Yeah, or I tuned in at one point and was COP green versus Crawworm, and I was like, how
Whoa.
do you beat this?
I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's the thing that I really like.
There were a lot of tranquilities in the draft.
so
though.
much
Yeah.
about the core sets is that, you know, we joke about the beta draft from a few weeks ago at Vegas. That's weird, bad, limited Magic, right? Like
Yeah.
that. It's fun to watch like once a year kind of thing if
Or
they were going
ever.
to do that,
Once
or ever,
ever,
yeah. But it's not the kind of Magic that you really want to play all the time. And then you have something like Dominaria, which was a fantastic set. It was from top to bottom incredibly well done,
But pretty complicated,
But it was a pretty complicated
Lot of
set. Like
words.
there's a
Lot of
lot
words.
of words, a lot of interactions, a lot of things that you can do, and that's also fantastic. And I love that kind of Magic. But what I truly love about Magic is that we can go back and forth between those things, and the core set just feels like proper, good old fashioned play some
Yeah.
creatures, enchant some creatures, kill some creatures kind of Magic, which is kind of like the meat and potatoes of Magic kind of thing,
Yeah,
which I'm
this is like,
super excited
you know,
about.
Good old Dickie Garfield is sitting back on
Yeah.
his couch, smiling
Yeah.
down on
Well, like
on
we're
us
talking
playing
about,
core
like
set Magic.
we're talking about this pack of cards, and we're saying Gravedigger is one of the best cards. It's literally a 2/2 for 4 that just gets something from the graveyard. Like that's just really
Yeah.
classic,
Without-
easy to understand Magic.
Without any intricate core words, you're really falling back on good old meat and potatoes Magic skills.
Yeah.
Right? You have to evaluate removal, you have to swing through with your bombs, you have to do math.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's rewarding. Like one of the best combat tricks is actually a downgraded version of one from like I want to say Tarkir, which was 1 and a black. Creature gets +2/+0. When it dies, it enters the battlefield.
Right.
I forget what
It
even
returns
it's
to the
called.
battlefield under target
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was supernatural stamina from
Yeah.
Amonkhet. Yeah.
Uh,
so it
and-
costs 1 more mana.
I got so much value off of that
It's a good card.
because it just like I was able to trade off because a lot of my creatures had low power, and I was able to get a second ETB effect.
Yep.
Right, and I was able to hammer opponents repeatedly over and over and over again with like advantageous attacks. Right, Supernatural Stamina was the one from Amonkhet, and the one from here was Abnormal Endurance.
Yeah.
That on
It's just-
Volley Veteran, that's a beating.
Right. There you go. Yeah. If you can rebuy any of the ETB effects.
I mean,
of
look
this
at
card, it's great.
I mean the pack, right? Gravedigger, Veteran,
Cavalry.
like casting that spell on any of these 3 cards and trading away and having this come back in and get your ETB is like that's kind of legit. So
Yeah, like I was able to kill an opponent with Abnormal Endurance at the PPR.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Like supernatural stamina is just like abnormal endurance is just a straight downgrade, right? Like it's
Yeah,
like,
it just
it's
costs 1 more mana.
It's
Yeah.
exactly the same card.
Yeah.
Also,
But
it has-
ironically, I think Abnormal Endurance might be better in this set than Stamina was in its set.
I would agree. I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's always a fascinating thing about Magic sets
Like it-
is
yeah.
these sort of cards in a vacuum, but then cards within their own environment take on all different connotations.
Like maybe this card was okay in Black-White Zombies, but I think like you had so many other commons that were important to get your deck together that you didn't have room for it. And then in Black-Green, it was like, okay, maybe, but often you just want your creatures to stay on the battlefield and get their -1/-1 counters off themselves.
Yeah.
And so you don't actually want to like return
Yeah.
them. You
Yeah,
want a bigger
exactly.
creature. And then in Black-Blue, it's like, nah, this doesn't cycle. And maybe black red. I don't know. I barely played any black red in that format. If I was red, I was usually white, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so but endurance, the same card for 1 more mana in M19 might be a house.
Yeah, it plays an unusual and interesting role.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, we had an issue, or we had just Graham and I met and discussed the spoilers we had seen so far, and then I think like the next day all the dragons were spoiled.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think we actually talked about the dragons yet on Tap Tap Concede. The most notable one is Nicol Bolas. We know that the storyline of M19 is we're back on the plane of Tarkir and we're learning about like the early days of Bolas and Ugin or whatever, but they've reprinted all new versions of the original Elder Dragons.
Yeah, it's like the original Brothers War.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, or the next thing after that, right? Yeah. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red for a 4/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, so like extra love for your commander or brawl strategies. But even just in a 1 versus 1, like we've never seen a 4/4 flyer before that comes in and makes your opponent discard a card. Usually making your opponent discard a card is strapped to a much less exciting body.
Yeah.
This guy's pretty hard to cast. He's 3 colors, but I'm very excited to get to play with this guy. Then he has an activated ability for 4 generic and 1 blue, 1 red, 1 black. He exiles himself and then returns to the battlefield transformed. And then on the back, he's a planeswalker with 7 throwing loyalty and 4 abilities.
Ugh.
I don't know if I have to go on. Basically, you're probably going to win the game if you manage to put enough mana to him to flip him.
I mean, yeah, like +2, draw 2 cards. -3 deals 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. -4, put target creature or planeswalker card from graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. -12, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library, which I love. That's one of my favorite all-time ultimates now. It's just it's like deal with it.
Nicol Bolas is
like that's it.
He's just like, pick it up.
Yeah, I will give you 1 chance.
Pick it up. You get 1.
Yeah.
It's funny because like his
It
ultimate
amuses me.
His ultimate reminds you of Jace the Mind Sculptor's ultimate, but it's different. If your opponent has like say the board is otherwise like kind of stable, or maybe there's like something that would cause your opponent to win that's already on the board, and then you Jace ultimate them, it's like they have as many turns as they had cards in hand. Whereas with this guy, it's like, well, he's not mind twisting them. They still have their cards in their hand as well, but they only have 1 more turn. So
somewhere
there's some tension there.
At some point in time, on probably someone's kitchen table, somebody's going to play Nicol Bolas and he's going to flip them, and they're going to get to the -12 and they're going to be like, yeah, screw it. I could probably win by dealing 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker, or I could probably put something on the graveyard. But no, I'm gonna do the ultimate, and they're going to leave their card, and that their opponent is going to pick it up, and they're going to be like, Vraska's Contempt, and then like be able, for some reason that won them the game. And
like Lab Maniac.
If that ever happens, please tell us about it.
Yeah, just
I want to hear it.
Tweet us the screenshot.
Yeah, because that's gonna happen, and it's gonna feel you're gonna feel like a literal $1 million. It's gonna be great.
Like Nicol Bolas, like swinging in for 4 and then flipping him. Post combat and then -3.
It's mean. So I think there should be, this guy should show up in standard. I suspect. I think he's powerful enough. We saw, what was it, like 9 months ago or so, there was a 4-color deck trying to play with the new Nicol Bolas, or maybe it was a full year ago now, shortly after the second Ammon set came out. People wanted to play Nicol Bolas Godpharaoh, so they adapted Jeskai to fit in a Nicol Bolas. So we know there's like kind of a control shell in standard that's done some things. It's done okay, and we're still in the same format, all the same tools from Kaladesh, and I know that deck played Dovanbon, at least one of, Dislows, things like that. So those are still around. So you can probably see some sort of Grixis control deck playing him. Maybe there'll be like a, I don't know, mid-range, sort of more aggressive blue-red deck that wants to just play him, like, you know, sneaks him in as like a blue-red Skies, Counterburn, Wizards, something like that. Maybe there's some deck that's more of a stretch for mana, or like the 4-drop is the top end. But the main place I was expecting to see this guy is in like a deck that's trying to just go long and win with answers and planeswalkers and just have a lot of ways to kill your opponent's stuff.
Yeah.
Because at the very least, this guy's a 4/4 that should just 1-for-1 as soon as he enters the battlefield. Yeah. Or, you know, and then threaten to kill them.
I like that this is the cheapest you've ever been able to get in on the whole Nicol Bolas thing, you know?
Yeah. I like that a lot too.
Is the budget, like Nicol Bolas has always been
a very
7 or 8.
Yeah.
In all of his iterations.
Yeah.
And they're here like, 4. You get it for 4 CMC.
And then for 7,
half price. Yeah.
For 7, which I also like. 7 is the cost of him
turning into the actual.
Turning into a planeswalker is also the cost of the Nicol Bolas the last Nicol
Yeah,
Bolas planeswalker.
the other standard Nicol Bolas.
I enjoy the fact that it's pay 7 mana, flip him. There's no condition.
Yeah.
There's no like, you can't trick Nicol Bolas into igniting his spark. Pay me. Pay me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like, do you have 3 dragons in play or anything like that?
There's no shenanigans.
No.
Pay Nicol Bolas.
Just give him a bunch of mana. Yeah. You want me to do your dirty work?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's another 4-mana dragon that also got spoiled, definitely since the last time we had this podcast. It's 1 generic, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 green.
Arcades Sabbath.
Yeah, Arcades the Strategist. He's a 3/5. There's that discount honk. Normally you need to pay 5 mana just for those stats, right?
Yeah.
He has flying and vigilance, and whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. So he's a fan of walls. This guy likes his walls.
Yeah.
And each creature you control with Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So it's got...
Ass formation.
Exactly. Assault formation strapped to this creature, plus the like ETB draw for every time you put a wall in after this guy. So I don't know if this is a standard deck. It definitely looks like a fun commander deck. Like, this is going to be a really popular brawl.
Drawing 2 off Wall of Omens.
Yeah.
For 4/4?
No, it's going to be great. Well, you got to go to Modern to do that, or perhaps Eternal Brawl. Well, maybe I don't know if Eternal Brawl works. Maybe pick your own 2.
I think Nicol Bolas is going to be 50% of the brawl decks made in the next several months, and Arcades it's going to be 50% of the commander decks built in the next. What you hear is the sound of 1,000 Magic players going out and searching Defender on Gatherer and being like buy everything.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is a cool card.
It's going to be a lot of fun, though. Like, there's clearly going to be a fun commander.
There was one of the other dragons, I can't remember which one it is, in sort of a control-y form. It can't be countered, is that right? Is there one that...
So, yeah, the new Palladium Moors costs 6, and I believe it has hexproof until it has dealt damage, which is actually kind of a judge headache whenever they have, like, you know, there's something changes about an object without...
a counter,
an easy way to represent it, without a visual way, like to let us know that the thing has happened. This can cause problems whenever it shows up in competitive. So, if, you know, there's gonna be probably an awkward story on Reddit at some point about, like, you know, a player thought that the opponent's Palladium Wars hadn't blocked the turn before or something, and then, you know, the judge comes over while the murder's on the stack, and it's like, what happens? And it's, you know, everyone hates everything, and it's that's partly the developers that are to blame, right? Because the way this is worded, it'd be kind of neat if it said has hexproof and it hadn't dealt damage yet this turn, which is kind of what I think. That's certainly what I read the first time. Like I read it a second time immediately, and I'm like, oh no, like they just, you know, he just like he just like got a little, like, it's like they stole Divine Shield or something from Hearthstone, where he's like, oh, he comes down with a little bubble that you just need to see, and then, you know, he loses it once he deals combat damage. But he can be countered, so maybe was there one more that can be countered?
I thought there was. What's the other?
This one I want to say is like the second worst one. I really like all the blue ones from this cycle, and I think
I mean,
what
like,
other Elder Dragons?
Chromium.
Oh, maybe Chromium can be countered.
one.
He's got flash.
Chromium
flash.
can be countered.
Oh yeah, this one's excellent too.
This one seems like it's just going to find a home. It's really expensive, but it feels like a finisher in the standard control deck.
You can play this in like almost like, I know it's hard to cast, but you can try to build like a mono blue deck, right? And because that's flash, you know, your plan can just be like to play draw go, and then when your opponent runs out of stuff, you just slam this and then win with it in 3 turns.
Right. Well, yeah, this thing seems.
Yep.
So
I like how it turns into a person. He's just like,
it turns into Invisible Stalker. Right?
Yeah, that's what it turns. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the, like, I was looking at this and I was like, what's the, because he can't be blocked this turn, but he's turned into a 1/1. So it's not like he can like sneak in as a 1/1 and then suddenly turn into a 7/7.
No, he doesn't do that. What's that? That's another card from Innistrad, though. What is that? The vampire that turns into the mist, and then you can turn it back into a 4/4. Yeah. That guy was such a house unlimited. But no, he just can deal 1 damage. The ability is mostly there to give him hexproof, right?
Right.
Like it's to give him a form of hexproof. but it costs you a card every time.
Right.
But yeah, this one.
I like the
super
idea
scary.
that's like when it's like you're firing off a murder or something, and you as the planeswalker, as the wizard, was like, okay, murder, go kill that dragon.
Yeah.
And then the murder spell goes after, and it's like, I don't see any dragons over here. There's just this one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, murder spells like, sorry, it wasn't in my contract.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't realize targeting worked that way, but okay.
Yeah. So the last one, the only one we haven't talked about, I think it's like the easiest one to kill. It's the Jund colored one. Thank you. Yeah, Vivictus
yeah.
is Mahdi
Oh,
the Dire.
yeah.
So another 6/6 for 6, just like his Naya brother. It does have flying, of course. All the dragons have flying. And then just one other ability. Whenever Vivictus attacks, for each player, choose target permanent that player controls, and then it casts like Chaos Warp. Those players sacrifice those permanents. Each player who sacrificed permanent this way reveals the top card of their library, then puts it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card. Okay, so it's like, then what happens to that card just stays there if it's not a permanent card? They just reveal it and it just hangs out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, yeah, I think that's the same as Chaos Warp. Maybe, do they draw the card if it's not a permanent or something with Chaos Warp? I'm trying to remember.
Something like that.
Anyways,
Anyway.
this one's a 6-mana 6/6 that doesn't have hexproof or
Or
trample.
yeah, or anything. I mean, it's still just like you need to find an answer for it, but
Yeah.
I guess in the eyes of limited. But
It'll still win limited
Yeah.
games.
yeah, oh yeah.
Do you?
But it does get murdered.
I feel like you really need a source of like tokens or something on your side so that you always have something that you don't mind, because you're losing a thing every turn too.
No, it's
No,
just
target-
target opponent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Choose target permanent
no,
that-
each
for
player.
each
For-
player.
for
Oh, for
each
each
player.
player. It's not for
Yeah.
each
Yeah,
opponent.
wow.
Yeah, for each
Thanks,
player.
Paul.
You get to choose each one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not
yeah.
like symmetrical, but
Now I'm starting to like him more because he's also a sack outlet.
But
I didn't even realize.
he is he is. You have to sack it.
Okay.
But it's an interesting it's interesting thing. Like if you have a token generator or something, you can turn all your tokens into real cards. Which is
Right.
pretty
Or if you're just
interesting.
flooding out.
Yeah.
You can blow up a forest.
I mean, it's strapped to a 6/6 for 6 that doesn't have haste, so it's probably hard to abuse. But maybe there's a polymorph strategy with this guy. Like, I don't know, you try to like just blow up your own land and turn it into a metalwork colossus or another dragon or something.
I mean,
Another
you're
nickel
not playing
bolus.
blue, so you're not going to be like messing with your deck in
Well,
terms
there's-
of scrying and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's just cry too on some things in general these days, aren't there? All right, now I just want to brew the Vivictus, blow up my own stuff. Hey, thanks for reading that, Paul. I totally thought only Chaos Warped your opponent. I'm really excited now. Okay, great. All 5 dragons are good.
All right.
We figured it out.
Good to know.
Do you want to talk about Vegas, or is there more team cards?
We can quickly chat about Vegas.
Yeah,
'cause
real
we gotta
Vegas
get out of here.
stories.
So, as I mentioned at the top of the podcast, we did do a vlog. There is a chance that it might actually already be out by the time you're listening to this. I'm not entirely sure. I know that at this moment in time, Adam has done a pretty thorough job of putting it together. So I think at this point it just needs to sort of be tightened up and looked over by Graham or Kathleen. So hopefully it will be out very soon. So that will give you a better idea of what we got up to. But Vegas. It's a hell of a thing. I know Cam and I were actually in here not too long ago talking to you about GP Seattle because we went down to that. GP Vegas is just a whole other beast.
Yeah. Like 3, 4, 5 times the size, something like that.
I don't know if it's quite, maybe like 3 times the size in terms of just the sheer number of people. The event, I think, was probably fairly similar. I think they had about 2,500 people playing in both the limited and modern events. But yeah, you haven't really been to a GP until you've been to GP Vegas is kind of the thing that I want to say there. I don't know, like the scope of it, the spectacle of it. It's sort of they've turned it into this like must-attend event of the year, like it's the big North American GP, regardless of. And I mean, it was turned up to 11 this year because of the 25th anniversary. So GP Vegas is always sort of the big spectacle event of the year. Add in the fact that just WotC was there in bigger numbers because of the 25th anniversary, and because of that, we got the beta draft was huge. So that happened on the Sunday night and was just a really weird thing to be able to watch and sort of be a part of. But we also, there were, there's panels, there's, we got to do bounty events and spell sling, which is always fun. What were some of your...
Ooh, I got to hang out with a lot of interesting people that I don't get to see very often.
Yep.
I got to play in a D&D game.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
broadcast.
Board the Weatherlight?
Board the Weatherlight. Our
Yeah.
good friend Ruben ran that one, and
Yeah,
that was a lot of
awesome.
fun. He's a very dynamic DM, and for such an enormous group and only 3 hours, I really feel like we all got to.
Is that Ruben
do
Brisley?
it. Yeah.
That's awesome. How many players do you have?
7.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
that's
a
a big
big D&D game, and
Yeah.
like up on a stage, and so I will say this about Vegas: there's one thing that they definitely need to improve on, which is where they hold those panels.
Yeah, the acoustics are.
They
awful.
just
They're just on the floor and like pipe and
Well,
and
pipe
curtain or
and
whatever.
drape, yeah.
Yeah,
pipe and
and
drape,
with
yeah.
barely even pipe and drape, but like
Okay.
it's not great.
Right.
It's the one thing that
You
like
speak and your voice just goes up, and then the audience in front
yeah,
of you. is like,
you have mics, but they're all kind of terrible mics, and like it's not great. It's one of the things that they absolutely need to improve
Yeah,
on.
like
and I've already voiced
breakout
that
rooms
opinion.
for that would
Yeah,
be
it would
really
be just
strong.
a panel room would be great. So that's something that they can improve on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
like
the D&D
imagine-
game was super cool.
Yeah, like imagine if PAX, if all the panels were on the show floor.
Yeah, basically is what what it's like. You're fighting.
the presenters would just be done in like the third hour.
like you're
perhaps,
literally
right?
you're fighting with the big PA system.
yeah,
being
judge,
like,
yeah.
Modern Masters draft number 4. Please meet at the blue gathering point.
Yeah,
And
when
it's
you're
just
at
like,
a-
hey.
although even the PA system in that place is like modern mass, also a popper event is good. Also, we found $20 million of
Unmarked
like,
bills.
Yeah, and it's just like I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. But no, it was a really cool event. I would say, yeah, keep an eye out for the vlog. It's going to be long. It's going to be involved. There's a lot of stuff that we got up to. Spell slinging is always a ton of fun. We get to meet you, which is really great. We get to sit down and play some games. Played a whole bunch of Pygal Magic, which
great.
is just a ton of fun.
Pack Wars, yeah.
It's basically it's just a different way to Pack Wars, but highly suggest checking it out. Really quickly, take your pack of magic cards, take out the land and the token. You can burn 2 cards that you don't want to use, then build 4 decks of 3 cards. You can build them however you want. You start with 5 life, you have unlimited mana, you pick up your whole hand, you play it out as much or as little as you want, and you basically, yeah, it's fun. Try it. At some point, I want to actually like do it on a Friday night paper night stream because it's a lot of fun.
We did it back when we were opening whole crates for a while. We haven't done that.
We haven't done that in a while. We should.
What happened there? I went on parental leave from
you
YJ.
stopped working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably could still just have
Okay,
shown up
well,
and
then,
stolen
I
a
mean-
case. I was thinking about it for Dominaria, actually.
well,
I thought
for
about it.
M19.
Okay,
right?
sure. Yeah,
Like-
I'll shoot at him.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can set it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Also,
Because that was the last time I played Pygo Magic. I think it was like a year and a half ago with you
Yeah,
after
with-
one of the
yeah,
sets.
yeah.
The big adaptation I had to make in Vegas was getting used to the sound that alarms and bells are a good thing and
Yeah.
are not a signal that you are about to die in a fire.
Oh.
Unless
'Cause
they
just-
are.
That's just how they let you know that your event was going to fire. It was just like a wooga.
No, you just walk through casinos.
Yeah, everything is a
okay,
casino,
right.
and
Ding,
like
ding,
they're
ding,
they're
ding,
just
ding,
like
ding,
slot
ding,
machines
ding,
everywhere. And when somebody wins, there's an alarm.
a fire
that's on-
drill.
Yeah, it's a fire drill every 30 seconds, and people are real happy about it.
Yep. It was pretty fun though. It was Ben's first GP.
Right.
He had never been to a GP before, and I was like, at the end, I'm like, this is not normal. Do not get used to this scale of GP, because this is just obscene. He had been to Vegas once before, but that was before he was like 18 or something like that, so he couldn't sort of like, he could
Right.
go out and drink and gamble and stuff like that. Surge has only ever done 1 GP before, and this was his first time in Vegas. So that was a lot of fun, being able to sort of experience the city with him.
It was
James
my
had to bring
first
his
time in
kids to Vegas.
Was it your first time in Vegas too? Right, yeah, it was. I was like, there was somebody else who hadn't been to Vegas or hadn't been to a GP. So it was Cam's first time in Vegas. So it was it was a lot of fun, just being able to go down there with the 5 of us. But yeah, at this point, I would say, unfortunately, the next GP that I think we'll probably all be able to make it to as a group will probably be GP Vancouver, which is at the very end of the year. It's at a very, very awkward time.
Probably not everyone will make it.
Yeah, it's right between Christmas and New Year's. It's the actual last weekend of the year. I am, however, we're going to start talking to Channel Fireball about stuff that we as Loading Ready Run can do there, because again, I think it's going to be a hard sell to get a lot of people out to that event just because of the timing. So I just kind of want to take it over. I just kind of want to be like, it's GB Loading Ready Run now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's us. You come and see us. Because I think that'd be fun. And I think just because of it's in Vancouver, it's like, it's easy for us to kind of get away for a day or two at that time of year, where I know for a lot of you, it's going to be like flying into Canada in the 2 days or 3 days after Christmas and 2 days before New Year's is tricky.
Yeah.
So
flying into Canada in December?
yeah, that seems like a silly thing. GP Vancouver in December is just silly. It should be in like the spring or summer.
Well,
or
we're
something
used to
like
it in
that.
January, right? Early
Yeah.
February, ironically. It often is in wintertime, but
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Vancouver's
a
just
big-
wet though. It's not actually frozen.
It's not
if you're,
cold,
if you're
yeah.
wondering, if you're at home and you're just like Canada,
Brr,
is
yeah,
all
no.
equal to
Yeah.
snow. Vancouver is pretty warm, relatively.
Yeah, like a big multiplayer event, because the main event is a
It's team limited.
team limited.
Yeah.
So you have to book 3 plane tickets between Christmas and New
Yeah.
Year's.
Yeah.
But I think
So start saving your, maybe flip those beta cards that you just opened for a plane ticket.
I think we can probably field like 3 teams, and there'll definitely be some content surrounding that. I think it's going to be it'll be Ravnica is the set.
Guilds of Ravnica.
It'll be well after it come out, which means I'm hoping that we can like get in. Like I would like to. A few years ago, I think it was the last core set before Origins, or maybe it was Origins. I don't remember. Graham, Jer, and I went down to GP Portland.
Yeah, it was M15.
M15.
I was there too.
Yeah, to play in that team limited event, and we put in a lot of work. Like we built probably 30. Like we did probably 30 seal pools, maybe not 30, but probably like 20 or something like that. We practiced a lot, and it was a ton of fun. And I think we actually, we did pretty well. We didn't day 2 or anything, but
Almost.
it was
That's
like
almost day
really
2.
close.
Yeah.
It was like 1 win away. It was.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you go back, you can hear the fun story of our final round that day, because it was it's one of those like feel bad stories, which I'm not going to get into here. But go find the podcast. It's an interesting story. But yeah, we'll be there for sure. GP Vancouver end of the year. But okay, that's going to do it for this week. Going to wrap things up. Once again, want to thank Card Kingdom for sponsoring this podcast. cardkingdom.com/LRR. Again, that'll apply the affiliate code. You want to do that. And then, of course, everybody over at our Patreon, patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to Cam and for Nelson for coming out and chatting about 2019. We will see you next week on Tap Tap Concede.